Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling a phrase you've probably bumped into quite a bit. No pain, no gain. You hear it everywhere, right? Workouts, big decisions.
Oh, definitely. It's like the go-to phrase for motivation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sort of shorthand for, you got to work for it.
Exactly. Gym walls, career advice, even relationship stuff. But let's actually dig into that. Is all that discomfort, that pain, really leading somewhere good? Is there a line?
That's the big question, yeah. Where does productive struggle end
Damn.
and just harmful suffering begin?
So that's our mission for this deep dive. We want to unpack what no pain, no gain really means, or maybe what it should mean across different parts of life.
Okay, so starting broadly, when you hear no pain, no gain, what's the fundamental idea that pops into your head?
I guess fundamentally it's about effort. Like anything really worth having isn't just going to fall into your lap. You need to, push yourself, get uncomfortable.
Right. Effort equals reward. It suggests that challenge is sort of baked into the process of achieving something. You can't really get growth without stretching beyond what feels easy.
Yeah, like learning a new skill. It's always a bit frustrating at first, isn't it? That initial pain of not getting it right away.
Exactly. Or even, that mental block of starting a big project. Pushing through that initial resistance is part of it. That discomfort is the work sometimes.
But that brings up a really critical point, I think. How do we tell the difference, between that good kind of struggle, the growth kind, and the pain that's just bad for us?
That's the tricky part, isn't it? Developing that discernment. Just because something feels awful doesn't automatically mean it's building character or leading to a gain. We need to be smarter about it.
Okay, let's take fitness. That's probably the most classic example for no pain, no gain.
For sure. The whole idea is controlled stress, right? Pushing muscles, cardiovascular system beyond their resting state. That burning feeling, being out of breath.
Yeah, that discomfort signals you're working.
Exactly. It signals you're creating a stimulus for adaptation, for getting stronger or faster or building endurance. It's the body responding to that demand.
But then there's the other side. There's muscle soreness, which is usually fine, and then there's like a sharp, sudden pain that screams injury.
Absolutely crucial distinction. Ignoring that kind of pain definitely doesn't lead to gain. It leads to setbacks, recovery time, frustration, the opposite of progress.
Yeah, you hear about people pushing through serious pain because they think they have to feel it for the workout to count.
And that's a dangerous misconception. Overtraining, burnout, injury. Those are the risks of taking no pain, no gain. Too literally in fitness. Smart training involves listening to your body, knowing when to ease off. That's not weakness, it's wisdom.
And it's not just physical, is it? What about the mental side? Dragging yourself out of bed for that run or pushing through the last few reps when your brain is screaming, stop?
That's a really interesting layer. Overcoming that mental resistance, that desire for ease or procrastination that builds discipline. It's a different kind of pain leading to a significant gain in mental toughness, which, spills over into other areas of life too.
Okay, so discipline as a game. Let's shift this over to, say, careers. How does no pain, no gain show up there?
Well, professionally, the pain is often about stepping into the unknown, right? Taking on a project that scares you, learning a totally new skill set, maybe public speaking.
Oh, yeah, public speaking definitely fits the bill for many people. Or asking for a raise, maybe. Starting your own thing, big risks.
Exactly. Those situations involve discomfort, uncertainty, maybe fear of failure or rejection. But pushing through that is often how you develop new skills, gain confidence, and, actually advance.
I can see that. Like tackling a really difficult project, it might feel awful while you're in it, learning new things under pressure, dealing with problems.
But looking back, those are often the times you learn the most.
Yeah.
Right? You come out the other side more capable. Even dealing with, say, constructive criticism. It stings, but that pain can fuel improvement if you let it.
Right. And what about the sacrifices? Long hours, maybe missing social events, the constant pressure to perform. That feels like a kind of persistent pain for ambition.
It absolutely can be.
Yeah.
And that's where we hit that nuance again. Dedication is one thing, but relentless hustle at the expense of your health, your relationships, your sanity, is that really gain?
That's the burnout question again.
Precisely. You have to weigh the cost. Sustainable effort is key. If the gain destroys your well-being, it might not be a worthwhile gain in the long run. Balance is so important.
Okay, and what about relationships? Because effort is definitely required there too, and it's not always comfortable.
Not at all smooth sailing, usually. Meaningful connections, friendships, family, partnerships, They all require work. And that work often involves, well, uncomfortable things.
Like difficult conversations, having to compromise when you really don't want to.
Exactly. Or navigating disagreements. Working through conflict constructively takes effort, patience, sometimes biting your tongue. It can feel painful in the moment.
And vulnerability seems huge here too. Like
Yeah.
truly opening up, admitting you were wrong, sharing deep feelings. That can feel incredibly risky, like emotional pain.
It is emotional risk. That's a perfect way to put it.
Yeah.
But that willingness to be vulnerable despite the discomfort is often what builds real trust and intimacy. That's a massive gain.
So at working through conflict, being vulnerable,
Yeah,
those can strengthen the bond.
they really can. When you navigate challenges together and come out the other side, the relationship often deepens.
But again, the line, there's healthy relationship work and then there's just toxic dynamics, right? Where the pain is constant and damaging.
Absolutely. The critical distinction, maybe the most important one. In unhealthy or abusive situations, the pain isn't leading to growth. It's leading to harm. It's eroding your self-worth.
So in those cases, the gain might actually be recognizing the harm and walking away.
Exactly. Sometimes the biggest gain comes from removing yourself from a source of consistent, non-productive pain. Prioritizing your own safety and well-being is the ultimate gain there.
Okay, so this really highlights the danger of just taking no pain, no gain at face value, doesn't it? Like just glorifying suffering.
Yeah, there's a real risk there. Suffering for suffering's sake isn't noble, it's just suffering. The pain needs to be linked to a purpose, to constructive effort towards a meaningful goal. It shouldn't be the goal.
And we keep coming back to burnout, pushing past reasonable limits, physically or mentally, just because you think you should feel pain. That can backfire spectacularly.
It really can. You end up exhausted, maybe sick, maybe depressed. And you have to ask, were those gains really worth it if they cost you your health and happiness? It forces you to define what game actually means to you.
It seems like rest, recovery, and self-awareness are just as important as the pushing part.
They're essential components. They're not the opposite of progress. They're part of sustainable progress. Knowing your limits, listening to your body and mind, taking breaks. That's crucial for long-term gain.
So, thinking practically then, for someone listening who wants to apply this idea in a healthy way, what are some takeaways, some tips?
Well, first off, setting realistic goals. Knowing why you're enduring the discomfort gives it purpose. It's easier to push through when you see the point.
Okay, having a clear why makes sense.
And, like you mentioned earlier, celebrating the small wins. Acknowledge the progress you are making. It keeps motivation up and makes the journey feel less like pure slog.
Yeah, positive reinforcement. Good one.
Also, really tune into yourself. Learn to recognize the difference between this is hard but productive and this is actually hurting me. Trust that feeling. It's okay to step back or change course.
Don't ignore warning signs, basically.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of support. Surround yourself with people who get it, who encourage you, but also maybe tell you when you're pushing too hard.
Having that external perspective can be really helpful.
Incredibly. And finally, try to embrace the process. Real growth takes time. It's usually incremental. Be patient with yourself. Understand that the discomfort is often temporary, part of a longer journey.
And maybe finding meaning in the challenge itself. If you connect the effort to your values, maybe the pain feels less like pain.
That's a fantastic point.
Yeah.
When the struggle aligns with something deeply important to you, it becomes more bearable, more meaningful. It's not just random suffering, it's effort invested in something you care about.
So it seems no pain, no gain is, well, it's powerful, but it needs wisdom. It's not a blank check to inflict suffering on yourself.
Not at all. It's about purposeful, mindful effort. It's about understanding the type of pain and ensuring it's actually serving a positive gain without destroying you in the process.
Okay, so for everyone listening, here's something to think about. Consider a challenge you're facing right now, big or small. How can you apply these ideas? Where's the line for you between productive discomfort, that stretch zone, and harmful pain that signals you need to adjust or step back?
Really reflect on that difference in your own context.
Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive today. Hopefully this gives you some useful ways to think about navigating challenges.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. It's been a great conversation.